Hey guys, it's Alyssa here, and today I shall be doing the It's Finally Fall book tag. I haven't done a tag in a hot minute, and this seems like a fun tag, and it's seasonal, and I love fall, and I'm wearing my new flannel that is very fall appropriate, and I'm just so prepared to do this tag. First question is, in the fall the air is crisp and clear. Name a book with a vivid setting, and for that I'm going with Search for Wanda, really the whole Wanda series. Throughout the entire series there are a lot of illustrations throughout all of the books, and it just helps so much to really throw you completely into the world, and I just really loved it. I thought it was so easy to understand from the very beginning. I started off not reading it physically and just listening to the audiobook, and even then I still felt like it had such a vivid world, and it was so easy to jump into. Definitely by far one of my favorite series that I've ever read, and it's just so cool. The second question is, nature is beautiful but also dying. Name a book that is beautifully written but also deals with a heavy topic like grief or loss. For that I'm gonna go with My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry by Frederick Bachman. This centers totally and completely on grief. This was just beautifully written. It was so well rounded, and the characters were so intriguing, and I liked the characters so much in this because they weren't necessarily likable characters, but the things you did showed them like, okay, I might not like everything this character does, but they still do good things. The next question is, fall is back to school season. Share a nonfiction book that taught you something new. And for that I'm gonna go with The Royal Art of Poison by Eleanor Herman. I read this book and absolutely loved it. It is a book completely dedicated to poison and how people on purpose or accidentally poison themselves in olden times. It delves into like histories of where they thought somebody important was poisoned, and come to find out maybe they weren't actually poisoned. It's just really cool to hear about the different minuscule ways that people used to accidentally poison themselves. It was really enlightening to me and really unbelievable. Kind of gross because it deals with poison and a lot of bodily fluids and illnesses and deaths, but in a lighthearted way. It's not too deep. I feel like it's very much an easy beginner's nonfiction. Next question is, in order to keep warm, it's good to spend time with the people we love. Name a fictional family / household / friend group that you'd like to be a part of, and for that I'm going with Nancy Drew, The Palace of Wisdom. I read this early this year and I was expecting it to be mediocre at best. I was like, oh, I love a good Nancy Drew story. I would probably enjoy it. I'll probably give it 3 stars. I'll enjoy it, at least. I loved it. I am eagerly anticipating the next volume. I cannot wait to follow this story more. Just really made the characters in the whole Nancy Drew / Hardy Boys universe so great and so lovable and diverse, and it was just so much fun. And I was like, while I was reading it, I was like actually thinking in my head, I'm like, wow, I wish I could be there with them doing these adventures because this sounds like so much fun. The colorful leaves are piling up on the ground. Show us a pile of fall colored spines. I tried to do the best I could. I think I did pretty good. I thought this would be harder than it actually was, but it wasn't that difficult. I have more fall colored books than I thought. So this is kind of my pile. I don't really know if the yellow goes in there that well. I don't know. I've actually read all of these, but this one. So yeah, there you go. That's the best that it's getting. Fall is the perfect time for storytelling by the fireside. Share a book wherein someone is telling a story. If you like a story where in it people tell stories, Don Quixote is the book for you. I did not know this going in, but this book is set up of a bunch of mini stories. Everyone that Don Quixote comes across ends up in one way or another telling their story usually, and it wasn't done in a boring way. It wasn't like why would I care about these people? Let's go back to Don Quixote. It felt so natural, and it just always flowed so well, and each story was easy to fall into, and were just usually very interesting and all very different and unique. And this novel is still one of the greatest accomplishments that I've ever done in my life. I still can't believe I read it and I enjoyed it as much as I did. But yeah, I feel like a big book where they tell a lot of stories that don't have anything to do with each other, might have something to do with each other depending on who we're talking about, then you might like this. The nights are getting darker. Share a dark, creepy read. I'm gonna go with one of my most recent reads, and that is Wilder Girls by Rory Power. Ugh. Oh my god, this book was so freaking creepy. But mostly just the setting of which basically everybody in this book is infected with what they call the tox, and boy, do they go into detail. Some girls are growing like second spines or scales, or their face is like peeling off, or whatever the case may be. It's, ugh, it made my skin crawl sometimes. There really was no big happy ending, and I kind of liked it for that. It stayed dark and creepy up until the very end, and it's definitely gonna be a book I keep thinking about, because it was nasty at points. Real nasty. The days are getting darker. Name a short, heartwarming read that could warm somebody's cold, rainy day. And I'm gonna go with a series, but I'm gonna hold up the most recent one that I read in that series, and that is the Anne of Green Gables series. These are so short. They're like 200 pages. They're so enjoyable. Honestly, so far, Anne of Green Gables is my least favorite, but each one just keeps getting better and better, and they're so heartwarming, and I love how through each one it goes through each of the seasons. So there are points where they're at summer, or they're at spring, or they're at fall, and this is just like such a good series to read during that time because it delves into all of those seasons really well. So like this book would be great during fall or winter or summer or spring. So I've really come to really love this series, and I can't wait to finish it because it's I love Anne. Fall returns every year. Name an old fave that you'd like to return to soon. Now, this is gonna be interesting because I haven't read this in a long time. It's probably been like at least 5 years since I read this book. And that is Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo. Yes, I am reading this in anticipation of the show, even though your girl isn't happy with the cast. Well, I'm happy with like half of the cast, but if they did cast Nina who they did, if you're okay with that, who they potentially did cast as Nina, you can leave because you're wrong. Period. There is no other opinion other than she should be plus sized, and that's the end of that discussion. I would like to reread the series in anticipation for the show. I didn't read Bruin Rising all that long ago. I don't know if I would necessarily reread that one. At least Shadow and Bone and Siege and Storm I would really like to reread because it's been a long time. The last prompt is: fall is the perfect time for cozy reading nights. Share your favorite cozy reading accessories. One, big fuzzy fleece blanket is a must. And when I mean big, I mean like I could swallow my entire body in it, like completely cover my whole body and cocoon myself in it. That's how big it needs to be. Really love, very specific, but Wawa S'mores hot chocolate. Absolute perfection. Yeah, hot chocolate's okay, but the s'mores hot chocolate from Wawa, if you live in places that have Wawa. I live in New Jersey now, so they're all over the place, but in Florida, where I used to live, they're now all over the place. So it just depends on where you live. But s'mores hot chocolate from Wawa is the jam. I haven't been able to find it lately. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if they discontinued it. If they discontinued it, I'm gonna be less happy for the rest of my life. Usually a candle. A candle really helps set the mood. And then a pair of really thick fuzzy socks. That sounds like the perfect setting. And like I would be in my bed because I love my bed. I don't leave my bed and it's my most comfortable spot in my house. So that was the It's Finally Fall book tag. I am loving fall this year, although it did come a little bit late. Where I live, it didn't get cold until like 2 weeks ago, and even then like it's still a little bit warm, but today it was actually cold. Like the past couple days have been actually cool enough where I can wear a flannel and not have to take it off midday. If you want to, you can go ahead and subscribe. I try to post bookish videos every single week, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope I'll see you in the next one. Bye!